dispatcher, over.
I'll say that again. You can't go, because you can't go out your way. Out there, yeah, exactly.
160 to IRS dispatcher, over. There is a
This car was ordered by the Chicago Surface Lines, but the CTA was created in 1947 here in Chicago to consolidate the rapid transit lines, the surface lines, the streetcars, surface lines, and the bus lines in Chicago into one system. Yes, folks, back in those days, they were private companies that competed for your patronage. And as such, as private companies, they had to make a profit. And providing transportation in Chicago back in those days, just like today, did not pay for itself. And so the CTA was formed in 1947 to consolidate those three companies into one unified system. Today we have Metra, the CTA, and PACE. And those three companies, systems are now consolidated under the RTA. Eddie's going to give us a couple of hits on the gong there and pass in review. Thanks, Ed. Museum. It's the Indiana Railroad 65. This car was built in 1931 by the Pullman Company right here on the south side of Chicago. It's a lightweight interurban car that made it with an aluminum body, and they did this in order to use less electricity. The lighter the car, the less electricity it takes for it to move. The Indiana Railroad had a very extensive system through the state of Indiana. It radiated like a spoke of a wheel out of Indianapolis, Indiana. And you could go to any place in the state of Indiana on Indiana Railroad in the urban. So, shortly, will be the 65 making a speed run. The motorman able to cut the 65. The father and son who volunteered here at the museum. That's John and his son Dan from the Flicky. I believe Dan is running the car, and John is the conductor on the car for this speed run. Johnson, a longtime volunteer who passed away recently this year. Julie will be missed by all the volunteers here at the museum. Pulling up into the reviewing area now is the first streetcar in the parade, the CTA 3142. The motorman on the 3142 is Paul Springer. Paul's a longtime volunteer and one of the weekday
ride-bys, or is that the first one?
That's just the first one.
Paul will be piloting the 3142. This car will be operated after the parade on the streetcar line
I'm assuming
for you
that
to
there's
ride
gonna be
on.
46 cars
So be
in
sure to
this.
stop
Yeah, I
in.
saw a whole bunch of them lined up.
Take some time later in the day to ride the 3142.
So I'm assuming
3142 was
that there's gonna be
built in 1923 by the J.G. Brill Company of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania,
amazing just
and
keeping these
operated
guys
on the
running
Chicago
because
surface
of their
lines
age
as well as the CTA here in Chicago.
that they-
Folks, for you kids and all
the
that,
position they
these
get
are
them in.
streetcars, and
Yeah, none of this
streetcars are
stuff
like
is
the
small
buses
and
of
light.
today.
It's all
And these operate
brittle and heavy.
on all of the
Brittle,
six,
heavy,
I shouldn't say all, about every 6 blocks in
100-year-old parts.
Chicago was a streetcar line. So you didn't have to walk very far to catch a streetcar in Chicago.
At least these have a
These
chance
cars
of being
provided
restored.
great service
Close to
until they
steam
came out.
equipment.
One of the disadvantages
some of the
is
steam
that there were
equipment
tracks
have
in
been
the street. So unlike the
time.
flexibility of a
Yeah.
bus, the streetcar always had to
Yeah.
stay on.
Not the big
So be sure
engines
to
here.
take some time
Because there's
and
no
ride the
place to run this
3142
track
after the
that
trolley
can handle
it.
parade.
Well,
It
they
will
just
be
routed
operating
away.
on the streetcar line.
Spent this
Paul's
fortune
going to
restoring the Milwaukee
hits
engine.
a gong and off she goes. this car and shipped it out there for service out there before they were all through with hauling passengers. I guess you get the idea that hauling passengers really isn't profitable for the railroads when they were private enterprises. And so the museum was able to acquire this car and bring it here. One of the first lightweight interurban cars that were built. By a different builder, different car builders, and yet they were able to train together and multiple units. And here we go with a speed run on the Chicago Roaring Elgin 308. Short train, which is very typical of what electric. No, he's not pulling the short train. Where does train go? Oh my God. The L7 has a device on it. You'll see there's an extension cord on it in the front. They could go into a siding 400 feet without wire to pick up their cars. Tom's going to blow the whistle and pass in review for the TMER&L L7. Put on this train, 4-car train, the Dennis model. Dennis is a long-time model here. Before they were taken over and consolidated into the CTA in 1947. So here comes concrete. And we're sitting into the Skokie Swift, which was a lot faster. So these two cars, the 714 was built by the Cincinnati Car Company, and the 160 was built by the J.G. Brill Company. The 160 was built in 1915, and the 714 was built later. It shows the difference. These two, the first one is called a green liner, and then the second one is a little more complicated paint scheme. You'll notice that it's The 229 is a center door, and the 213 is an end door, you'll notice, so it's pretty distinctive cars. And it looks like still a stalwart, one of the cars that if you visit here on the weekdays, and folks, the museum is open daily from Memorial Day to Labor Day. So if you get some out-of-town friends that are coming and you want to show them the collection here, come on out. Chances are you may be riding this car on the mainline run here at the museum during the weekdays. The motorman on this car is Jim West, longtime volunteer and one of the directors here at the museum.
A little after 1. They said they were going to have 46 units.
Henry Street. Here she is, the 101. 101 is what means that he can run it from either end of the car. The seats flip over. This was a multi-year restoration by the volunteers and the electric car department. Gasoline we do now is on the main line with the next 13, the 518, 911. The motorman is Joe Supar and his conductor is Mike Hoffman, and Joe's got a wheel on it. Composite cars, you notice they have canvas roofs on them. And the last car was
Bobby and Grandma and Miss Julie's Marshall for Sarah Casey's.
Yes. Yeah. That's two yes. Yeah. One girl that that's because you know how much
That was the end of it.
like that. Let me tell you, James, like Mommy does little, I didn't get those things set up in the mayor.
Even that, you're not speaking about.
All right, hey, listen. I got all your big mail.